Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here in my little converted garage. I am, of course, your garage dweller, John Campea. I'm joined all the way from the observatory, of course, writer, director, producer, Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, I'm doing great. You know, the last episode of Star City aired, which no one talks about, but they should. And then, of course, we get to talk about House of the Dragon today.
Oh, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And joining us also all the way from Burbank, our technical producer, Mr. Jonathan Voico. Jonathan, how you doing?
Live from beautiful downtown Burbank. Hey, everybody.
I'm not going to lie, I kind of miss living in Burbank. I really do.
I love it.
I think Ann and I might move back there sometime when, it won't cost us $4 million to buy a 600 square foot bachelor house. When that happens. And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and making our little show part of your day. And here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a number of predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. Then in the second part of the show is when I'm going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, question, or topic you'd like me to address, as long as I deem it appropriate to be addressed on the show, go ahead and fire it on into the super chat feature while we're live. And you do have to be watching live while we do that. And then I'll get around to it in the second part of the show. All right, guys. With that all down, let's get things started. And unfortunately, we need to start today on a very deeply depressing and sad note. Incredible actor, Sam Neill, obviously best known for the Jurassic Park franchise. The best taking off of eyeglasses in the history of cinema. Sam Neill has passed away at the age of 78. Now, you guys might remember a little while ago that they announced that he was battling illness, and I thought that was behind him. And honestly, I don't know. By the time I was reading up on everything, there weren't a lot of details. I don't know if it was connected to that or not. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But we've lost an actor who wasn't just a great actor. He was like, how do I put this? He was like dad coming into the room. When Sam Neill would enter a scene or be in a movie, there was a feeling of, okay, everything's under control. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if he was playing, a guy running away from dinosaurs or the first mate of a Russian sub or Merlin or whatever. There was something about Sam Neill's presence in a movie that instantly felt like this is all going to be okay because Sam Neill's there. And listen, I get it. I 100% get it. There's going to be a lot of talk today, completely understandable and totally worthy. But there's going to be a lot of talk today about Sam and obviously the Jurassic Park franchise and a lot of other films in his illustrious career. But to me, whenever I think of Sam Neill, I always have, and I always will, think about one of my absolute favorite line deliveries, one single line delivery that I've ever heard in movies. I'm not gonna say it's the absolute number one, but it's up there. And Rob, I just want to see if you can guess what that one line delivery I might say is. See if you can take a wild guess. Is it from Hunt for Red October? Oh, your audio's turned off. Can you try again?
Is it from Hunt for Red October?
Jonathan, can you talk to me for a second?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me?
I can't hear either of you right now. Hold on a second.
Must be the scene.
Let me check something because I was able to hear both you guys a minute ago, and now I cannot hear either of you. Are you guys? You guys can hear them, but I can't hear them. This is
we can hear each other.
We can hear. Yeah, we can
Rob,
hear.
Rob, can you try again for me?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Let me see if it's let me see if it's my headphones. Give me a second. All right. Can you try again, Rob?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, but I think there's something wrong with my headphones, so I'm going to have to do the show without my headphones on. Hopefully
I was gonna guess, is the line reading you're talking about from the Hunt for Red October?
Yes, it is.
I'm not going to say it.
It's one of the greatest lines ever. And it's the way he said it. And it's not just the line. It's not just the way he said it, but it's what's set up earlier in the film as well. He's dying and he says, "I would have liked to have seen Montana." On the page, such a simple, maybe throwaway kind of line, but the dynamics of the character when you learn about what was going on with him before that incident happened, and then the dying breath, and that line became so powerful. And whenever I think of Sam Neill, to me, the line is, "I would have liked to have seen Montana." And today that is especially appropriate because, man, I would have liked to have seen Montana.
You know, the first person that told me that he passed, I got a text message from Terry Matalas, who is the showrunner of Vision Quest, who did Picard season 3, and he just sent me a picture of Sam Neill. And the thing that I thought about last night is exactly what you said, is that line reading. I love The Hunt for Red October, but he doesn't have a big part in the movie, but he's so good in it. And that line, I think about that line so much, and it's exactly what you said, dude. That's why I said to you, was it from Hunt for Red October? Because that's the same thing I thought too.
Yeah, Jonathan,
I'm just a huge fan.
When you think of Sam Neill, I know you've been watching his movies for forever like us. When you think of Sam Neill, what's the first thing you're going to think about?
First thing is always going to be Jurassic Park. I mean, it's just indelible. But for being a third in a series of, Omen, I love Omen 3.
It's so he's so good in it.
He's so evil in that. But you know what? I really loved Hunt for the Wilder People. I thought,
oh my God, I love that movie.
That movie still stands out to me. Like, it's still like I get like welled up when I.
The 10th anniversary 4K just got announced.
Oh wow, yeah, and it is just like his character arc in Hunt for Wilder People is amazing, guys. If you haven't seen it, it's one of his later films. Check it out.
You know, John, I just told you, coincidentally, Second Sight's one of my favorite boutique home video labels, and they put out a movie that I don't know why I missed it, because I get everything they put out, and I missed this one thing that Sam Neill starred in 1981 with Isabella Gianni, and it's this movie, Possession, and it literally, this disc showed up today.
Yeah. You guys, I know this seems weird, guys, but literally, just as before we started the show today, Rob picked up this still all in its bubble wrap packaging, goes, "I can't believe this showed up today." And he opened
isn't that
it
weird?
And showed us what it was.
Like that.
You know, and he was in a movie, I think it came out like 79. It was directed by Gillian Anderson, called My Brilliant Career. And it was Judy Davis starred in it, and it was on cable all the time. And that was like the first movie I remember him in. And then his genre work, he was in John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness, which was the third of his Apocalypse trilogy. It was The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. And he was in Event Horizon.
Right.
And Jurassic. And Jurassic Park. I mean, he did have this genre movie career. And I want to say,
what was the one he did with Ethan Hawke where they were vampires and like vampires now ruled the world?
That was Daybreakers.
That was
by the Spear brothers. Awesome Australian.
So
that movie rules. I have a big box set of that too, by the way. And he was just, but you know what he had in him? He had an inherent kindness.
Mm-hmm.
There was, even the way he smiled, he kind of would have that nod. He wouldn't open his mouth and go, "Hey." He would have that smile that went up the side of his face that you couldn't help but feel warm and fuzzy inside when he threw one of those at you.
Well, it was how he also lived his life off screen too.
Oh yeah, the farm. He's got a picture people are sharing with him and one of his pigs. His pig is in the foreground, and he's right behind him. And it's like, you look at it and you're like, oh man, was there a nicer man who ever lived than Sam Neill?
Yeah, again, and it's funny, I never once, I mean, there are some actors, like when you watch even the great Clint Eastwood in his later films or things like that, like there are certain actors who you feel like, okay, they're getting to the end of the career, right? They're getting towards the end of their career. I never felt that with Sam Neill. Like I'm not saying the end of his life. I'm saying even just the end of his career. I never even felt like he was getting anywhere near the close to the end of being just one of the great screen presences that we've had. And anyway, guys, question is for you. When you think of the wonderful talent of Sam Neill, what's going to be the first thing you think of? Will it be the glasses coming off? Will it be a line like mine? I would have liked to have seen Montana. Would it be something else? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, at CinemaCon this year, there were a couple of really great, came out of nowhere to really pleasantly surprise us. For me, a couple of those are like Forgotten Island. Whalefall was another one.
Yeah.
But one of the ones that made one of the absolute biggest impressions was they gave us this big presentation of the new Alejandro Inarritu and Tom Cruise movie, Digger. And we've been saying, oh my God, guys, we can't wait for all of you to see some of the stuff from Digger. And today was the day that they actually dropped the trailer for Digger. Everything in it was stuff they showed us at CinemaCon. Not everything they showed us at CinemaCon was in the trailer, but I think this trailer is still a pretty good representation of what we got. Because I think we got about 2 or 3 times more of the stuff at CinemaCon than we got in the trailer. Listen, Tom Cruise is still, like, I still think Ralph Fiennes is the best actor in the world not to have an Academy Award yet for Best Actor or even Best Supporting Actor. But on that list somewhere is Tom Cruise. He's been nominated several times. I have not seen the whole movie yet, and maybe my mind could change once I have. But I will call early that I think this is the movie. I think this is the movie that Tom Cruise gets his Best Actor Academy Award. You know, this thing's got a little bit of flavor of like wild, almost Farley Brother kind of comedy. It's got little accents of Doctor Strangelove. Mm-hmm. It's just got a whole bunch of everything wrapped into it. And it just looks bonkers and weird with an actual message and absolute utter craziness. Guys, the cat in the trailer was even better in the full. Like, this cat is going to be one of the unsung heroes, I think, of this entire movie. How much time's he got left? Anywhere between 2 weeks and 5 minutes.
I know. Look he gives him.
Yeah, look he gives him is just great. John Goodman is probably going to get nominated for Best Supporting Actor. A lot of the places are already calling that out. This is a winner trailer. I'm not going to say this is the best trailer of the year, but I thought this was an absolute winner of a trailer. I cannot wait to watch this film. Rob, you saw the presentation at CinemaCon, so you kind of knew what to expect, but now you saw the trailer, what they packaged together for the world to see. What did you think about it?
You know what? I thought the trailer was a pretty good distillation of what we'd seen. And again, I think it shows how committed Tom Cruise is to this franchise. Also, you know, after watching his performance as Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder, the fact that an actor like Tom Cruise was willing to give up his looks, and he still looks fantastic in his 60s, to really immerse himself. I mean, clearly he takes a great glee in this part, you know, prosthetics and feeding his cat, like, here, honey. I mean, I watched the trailer like 3 times. I had to show it to Elizabeth. I'm like, you got to watch this. And she watched it and she goes, she's very dispassionate about these things. She goes, okay, I'm in. And I mean, it's so much fun to watch. And it's got that Doctor Strangelove vibe. And even John Goodman.
I said Farley Brothers. A few guys in the live chat, what I meant was Coen Brothers. It's got a bit of Coen Brothers. Doctor Strange. That's right. Thank you for correcting me.
Or Farrelly Brothers too.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that this movie looks, it just looks fun. You know, I mean, is it going to be good? Is it going to be overbearing? Is it going to be too much, too far? I don't care. It's got my entire attention. I'll be there opening day with bells on. I can't wait to see this. And even Inarritu said at CinemaCon that Tom Cruise went for broke. Mm-hmm. Like he went for it. And you know what, John? Tom Cruise is a great actor. And I think back to things he did, whether it was Oliver Stone playing Ron Kovic in Born on the 4th of July,
yeah.
whether he was in, A Few Good Men for Rob Reiner, the movies he did with, Jerry Maguire and Vanilla Sky, and Magnolia for Paul Thomas Anderson. I've missed him playing characters. I mean, Ethan Hunt's fine, but he's an action star. It's not like he can. It's so great to see Tom Cruise go for broke again as a character actor. I mean, even when he was in Rock of Ages,
you know what?
Broke in that too.
I didn't love Rock of Ages. I didn't love
either.
The movie overall, but he sells it. Like he's great in it as the aging rock star sort of dude. Like he sold that. He totally did.
Totally.
By the way, I'm still waiting for a Les Grossman movie. Like I'm still waiting for that movie.
I think this is the closest you're going to get.
Yeah.
Is what I thought during the trailer. I feel like he's doing his best Bob Odenkirk impersonation in this movie. But his performance is wholly other.
You were not at CinemaCon with us, Jonathan.
Thank
so
you
this
for
is
reminding
actually hey, you were invited. But
I know.
This was your first exposure really to what we're getting from Digger. So like Rob and I already kind of had a background for this, but this is fresh for you. What did you think about it?
It was a little different than what I thought from just like the images we saw with him with the shovel and the silhouette.
Right.
So I really had no idea where this was going. And I know I read the synopsis. He creates some disaster that he has to go fix, but what does that mean? And now we can see it. And I really did get a lot of Doctor Strange love out of this. I'll tell you, this movie looks like it's going to be fast tracked right to the Criterion closet because this is Criterion written all over it. But this looks like an exciting role. I cannot wait to just kind of take a bite out of these characters. I don't even really care about the story. It's more about the characters.
I just want to see Tom Cruise doing this bit for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And of course, like, again, Rob mentioned it too. Like, when is the last time Inarritu made a straight up bad movie? I don't know if ever. So, I mean, you're combining him, one of the great filmmakers of our age, with Tom Cruise, and these guys poured a lot of years and a lot of passion into this, and I think it shows. And now look, I've had a number of movies, even this year, whose marketing and trailers got me excited and ended up disappointing me, and maybe that's what Digger's going to be, but I really don't think so. I think this looks incredible. I can't wait to see it. Guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? They have now dropped the trailer for Digger. The stuff they showed us before looks absolutely bonkers. I think this trailer, like Rob said, is a really good representation of that. I loved it. Whatever you guys thought about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Well, House of the Dragon Season 3, 3 episodes in, has been an absolute treat. I've loved the first 2 seasons as well, but this season is pacing for me. I won't speak for anybody else. I'm only speaking from my own personal experience. Is pacing for me to be the best season yet. I have absolutely loved this season. There's not really any missteps that I've been able to really put my finger on that I haven't absolutely adored and loved. But then again, we've seen a lot of shows and seasons that start strong and kind of peter out. Now we're getting into episode 4. And episode 4 comes out, and I'm not going to say it's my favorite episode of the season so far. I'm not going to go that far. But episode 4 for me is yet another absolute triumph. I loved it. And again, I say this all the time when we talk about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, stuff like that. I love the big battles, love them. Love all the dragon action, love it. But I think the true crowning jewel of all the stories of Westeros shows are always about the conversations, the plotting, the scheming, the betrayal, the insight, the wisdom. Like it's those things that absolutely kill me. There's a scene in the episode last night when Daemon finally confronts his daughter, and the daughter doesn't take any crap from him, like none. It's like, listen, I was always nothing to you. Don't start pretending like you care now. I've never asked you for nothing. Do this one thing for me in your useless existence as a dad. And it was like just awesome. And when like freaking sheep stealer comes out of the cave, I'm like, oh my God. And like as a dog owner my whole life, like having the two dragons, like, rah, rah, and like one flying past and one dragon, fuck you. And the other dragon's, no, fuck you. No, fuck you. Like as they're yelling back and forth at each other as they're going away. I just lost it. And the fact that we've got a new top-notch villain in Ormond Hightower, who is very different from, you know, the villains we've had in past Westeros seasons. This is a more articulate, highfalutin kind of. I love the fact that they set it up where he's a character who's got to constantly be smelling perfumes and positive sense in his relation with the youngest Targaryen brother and his ultimate feelings, guys, about the Targaryens in general, like coming out. And he says, now we begin. And now you're realizing, oh my God, this isn't greens against blacks now. This is a three-way fight. Mm-hmm. This is greens versus blacks versus Hightowers. And oh my God, dude, when they bring in that guy at the end and say he's got to be executed, my heart broke.
Oh my God, dude.
My heart broke. I love this show so much. And again, listen, it could fall off a cliff, like going in episodes 5, 6, 7. I mean, absolutely it could. But I do know this. Next Sunday, I'm going to watch the World Cup final. I'm going to have a big barbecue. We're going to play D&D, and we're going to watch the next episode of House of the Dragon, because nothing has been a misstep this season to me. Like every step has been a winner. And I just thought last night's episode was incredible. Rob, I know you've been enjoying the season a lot too. How did you feel about last night's episode?
You know what? I've loved how all 4 now of the episodes of season 3 have been very different in terms of their tone and what they've done. This was really an exploration of, like you said, the Hightowers, a different faction. Daron, her youngest son, obviously being auburn-haired, which is a change from the book, but it shows why they sent him away early on to Old Town. And I really liked how he's being shown like he's getting a lot of how the world works. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. And it was like watching a game of chess that was being played by grandmasters, all the different people that were scheming. I mean, even Corlys look, I'm the hand of the queen, but I'm out of here. Why don't you go? You know, he's like, his son's like, well, I don't know, go anyway. And everybody it was so much fun to watch. Was there a lot of action? Not necessarily, but it was all intrigue, and it's what Game of Thrones has always done best. Character, and moving the pieces on the board in such a way that you can't look away. Fantastic.
Oh my God. And again, we got introduced kind of in a way to a new dragon as well.
Viserion.
Yep. I think Daron Targaryen is going to be great, but still that whole conversation where Ormond basically, he shows his hand. He goes like, you're Hightower, but you got some of that filthy blood in you. That filthy Targaryen blood with these abomination dragons and blood, and it's like, okay, and now we begin. Like, oh my God. Like my jaw was just a gap, like a 4 or 5 different points. And again, the scene between, you know, first of all, Sir Criston can go screw himself. So I hope he meets a horrible, horrible end. But like the dilemma he finds himself in now, having shown up there to Harrenhal and not finding Daemon or not Daemon, Aegon. Not Aegon, Aemon, who he was looking for, and Vhagar and all that kind of stuff, to what's going on in the town where the Hightowers just took over, and what's still continue to go on at King's Landing, and everything going on with Alicent, and oh my God, Aegon's got another kid on the way, and it's like, and oh, by the way, all the stuff with Toe Toucher and Aegon. I mean, Like Ann and I were watching the show last night, and we saw the two of them walking along, and I said I said out loud, I used to touch your mom's feet. But anyway, it's like, like every chapter of the story that they were going back and forth between, I found absolutely riveting.
And it's, again, everything has been building. Like, each episode is different, but it's all like it's a beautiful brick wall that's being laid by perfect bricklayers. The way the story is being built up, I mean, by the end of the episode, I was tense. I'm like, oh my God, the hell is going to fall on all of these people. And they're all.
What I love with Aegon finds, what's the name of his dragon again? Sunfire. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I know that's also the name of a mutant in the Marvel comimics, but if you guys remember, it is Sunfire.
Yeah. Fyre. Yeah.
When you find Sunfire, and Toe Toucher is talking to the bandit guys, and he's like, and then all of a sudden you hear Aegon say, "He's alive," and I'm like, it's like. Maybe I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they had him say that. Anyway, we'll get around to that. But anyway, again, I thought it was amazing. Oh, and yes, by the way, the kid who is Darren Targaryen is Link in the new Zelda movie. This is our dude who's playing Link.
Yeah.
That's
right. He's got a great face.
He does. I think he's going to be wonderful in the movie. We'll see how that all goes. But I love the episode. I cannot wait for this show to continue. Guys, question is for you. What did you think of the newest episode of House of the Dragon? I thought it was bloody near perfection. Like, I ate up every single scene, every conversation, every little twist that was going on. I loved it. I don't know. Maybe it worked for you. Maybe it didn't. That's all fair. Whatever you guys thought, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, we still got to talk about a couple of cool things, including Paramount is apparently going to be rebooting the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but is that a good idea to do? Also, it's now done and official. 12 states are launching a lawsuit to stop the Paramount Warner Brothers merger. What's their basis? What's their chances of success? We're going to talk about that as well. And a Marvel director of visual development has now released the first official look at the art of the concepts of what the characters in Avengers Doomsday are going to look like. This is our first official look at it. We're going to talk about that and a few things more. But before we do, we're going to take a second and thank one of the sponsors of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at Mars Men. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, Mars Men. You know, one of the things that catches a lot of us guys off guard as we get older is that staying in shape isn't quite as straightforward as it used to be. You can be putting in the same effort at the gym and watching what you eat, but your body just doesn't seem to respond the way that it did a few years ago. A big reason for that is that testosterone levels naturally decline as men age. And that's where today's sponsor, Mars Men, comes in. Mars Men is a natural supplement designed to support healthy testosterone levels with top-notch ingredients. It's made in the USA, third-party tested, contains no synthetic hormones or weird stimulants, and is designed to support healthy testosterone levels, weight management, exercise performance, and overall energy. They also back it up with a 90-day money-back guarantee, which is key. And according to the company, over 91% of users reported higher energy levels. For a limited time, our listeners can get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. And it's also available on Amazon. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. And thank you to our friends at Mars Men for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You guys remember Nightmare on Elm Street? You know, Freddy with the blades on his hands, you know, the second most popular character with blades out there. Well, you guys know and remember they tried to relaunch it a bunch of years ago. Didn't go well. But now, Paramount Studios has announced that they have just signed the rights to and are now working on relaunching the Nightmare on Elm Street movie franchise. As The Hollywood Reporter says, the studio has inked a deal with the estate of Wes Craven to revive the Freddy Krueger horror franchise and will release it via the newly launched Paramount Primal label. The Paramount Primal label. Okay. Interesting name for a label, but that's not really the story here. Is they're going to be bringing back Freddy and Friday the 13th, or Freddy and Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm going to tell you, this is one of those stories where I had an initial response to it in my head. And then when I thought about it more, I kind of completely changed my thoughts on it. Because at first, when I heard the news that they were going to try to relaunch Nightmare on Elm Street, my first thought was, good idea. Yeah, I mean, this is a beloved, cherished horror icon. The idea of, like, obviously the last time they tried to relaunch it didn't go so well, but this is a cherished, celebrated horror icon. Bring him back. But then I thought about it for a minute. And I thought, this is actually a pretty dumb idea. I want us to actually go back, because I think when you look at the phenomenon of things like weapons, the phenomena of things like Sinners or Obsession or Back Rooms and things like that, the horror that is really working right now with people, the horror that people seem to want to get, is new. It seems like there's a real desire. Even the newest Evil Dead launched with kind of a dud. But it seems like the desire out there is for something new. As a matter of fact, if you look at the classic horror icons, right? We're talking Michael, we're talking Freddy, we're talking Jason. If we go in and look at what have those franchises done over the past forever, well, the last Halloween movie, Halloween Kills, only made $130 million worldwide at the box office. The Nightmare on Elm Street relaunch in 2010 only made $117 million worldwide at the box office. Halloween Ends in 2022 only made $105 million at the box office. And the last time they tried to do a Friday the 13th movie, it made a grand total worldwide of $92 million. To put that into perspective, you're talking about Obsession almost that close to making more than the last 4 movies that had Freddy, Jason, and Michael in them. Let me say that again. Obsession, which wasn't a worldwide box office phenomenon by any stretch. It's not like it made $800 million. It made 400 and change. But Obsession by itself has nearly made more than the last 4 movies with the all-time great horror icons, Freddy, Jason, and Michael. And so when you look at these numbers, and the numbers don't lie, much like my hips, gentlemen, the numbers don't lie.
What?
I just think that at this point, trying to go back, and I think it's kind of folly to try to go. I know they're trying to relaunch a new Friday the 13th series with Crystal Lake. But I almost feel like they need to wait another 15 to 20 years and then bring back the great legendary horror icons. Because I feel like right now, I just think, again, I'm just going to point to the numbers. I think right now the numbers are indisputable. The stuff that is clicking with horror fans right now is not legacy titles. It isn't Evil Dead. It isn't Freddy. It isn't Michael. It isn't Jason. It's the new stuff. It seems like the horror audiences is craving new stuff. And because of that, I don't know if trying to go back to the well and do another Freddy movie right now is the best idea. Admittedly, I'll go see it. I'm always going to go see anything you put in and say it's Freddy Krueger. I'm just going to go see it. But I think I'm going to have a lot of seats to choose from when I go, because I don't think the audience wants to go to this anymore. Anyway, Rob, you saw this news. Paramount and Paramount Primal, they're going to be bringing back Freddy Krueger. There's a part of my heart that celebrates that. I'm not going to lie, but I just don't think this is the market for it. I don't know. What do you think about this?
John, I am in complete agreement with you. The thing about horror is, more than any other genre, it's a function, and it's a reflection of the time in which it's made. And I think that what we are seeing is that all great horror, if you go back and you look at all the really, really successful horror franchises, they are as much a product of the zeitgeist of the era in which they are made, the year in which they are made, than anything else. And I understand the thing about Nightmare on Elm Street was it ran its course, even to the point where Freddy versus Jason, it did everything it's going to do.
Which also nobody went to go see.
There's nothing a Nightmare on Elm Street movie has to say to today's generation. Not at all. And, they're talking about and God bless him, but Curry Parker.
Yeah.
He's signed to do Texas Chainsaw. And I'm like, look, what do we have to say there? No one's going to go see that. You've got guys that are making brand new horror features, and all of them cite people like Ari Aster, or they cite movies like The Witch or Hereditary. These are the things that are new. And why people don't get that, I mean, Paramount Primal, I'm not sure about that name for their genre, although Primate I really liked. I just don't understand. Why do you think that a franchise that literally is 42 years old, how does that franchise that people have been watching since then, why reboot it? There's nothing that you're going to surprise anybody with. There's not a concept that's new.
He speaks Gen Z.
Yeah. I mean, horror is defined by the time in which it's made, and woe be is to those who don't get that. Everyone thinks, well, it's a known IP. That is corporate Wall Street thinking without any understanding. The problem with corporate think is corporate think does not have any understanding of storytelling, because you can't quantify great storytelling on a spreadsheet. You can only quantify the results of great storytelling, and money doesn't necessarily have anything to do with it. But you've got to give, what have we seen today? A $750,000 film that was acquired for $15 million at Toronto has made $426 million. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for modern takes, not of old franchises, but of what life today. Why is life today horrific? Why is life today scary? That's what you're looking for, not something that came out 42 years ago.
And by the way, I want to point this out. There's a couple of titles some people seem to be throwing out. Like I saw somebody in the live chat say, well, what about It? Well, It was a television miniseries 40 years ago. I mean, it was never a Freddy, Jason, whatever. So for many people, It was a brand new thing. Some people are also in the live chat saying, but Scream 7 was a big hit. Scream 7 made $200 million and was one of the worst films ever made in history, granted. But I mean, Scream 7 made $200 million. And again, Scream isn't like Freddy, Jason, and Michael. It was almost a parody, fourth wall breaking commentary on the horror genre when it was made and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think you can put those in the same category as that lineup of legit horror icons.
Also, I would also say that Scream has been a reflection of when it was made.
Yeah, that's true.
And every year when the franchises have come out, when the films of the Scream franchise have been released, they have tried to stay up with the times. They've added our modern era to each one of those films.
Yeah, I'm just saying, when you look at what is really working today, it's not the old legacy stuff.
No,
it tends to be these new takes. So again, there's a part of my heart that is very happy they're going to be doing another Freddy, and I will be there personally. I just don't know when I look around if there's going to be many people around me in the theater when they do. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? They are bringing back Freddy Krueger, but do you think people are going to care? I mean, really, when you look at the history of the last number of Freddy, Jason, and Michael films, none of them have done any business. Do you think suddenly that'll change? Maybe it will in the hands of the right director. Who knows? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, we've known for a couple of months now, that California, New York, and a bunch of other states were looking at it and kind of peeking into whether or not to launch a full-scale lawsuit to try to block the Paramount and Warner Brothers merger. Then last week, we talked on this show about it looked like they could officially launch that lawsuit within a week. And here we are today. It's now official. 12 states have come together to sue the blockbuster Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery takeover. They have launched the lawsuit. Now, there's a couple of key things that stood out to me in this article about the fact that these states have now come together. They have officially launched the lawsuit. These are some of the things that kind of stood out to me. First of all, is which states are doing it. And the 12 states in this lawsuit are California, Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, and Washington are the 12 states. And others may join along the way as well. But one of the key things about that was in that article that stood out to me was this quote here. A similar coalition, which included California and New York, of states sued to block, remember we talked about this last year, to block Nexstar's pending acquisition of Tegna, a deal that would merge two rival owners of local TV stations. The state succeeded in convincing a judge to pause the merger while the litigation proceeds. Now, here's why that is so important. They got that injunction to stop the merger until the lawsuit is finished over a year ago. I think it was back in May. Sorry, it was May of this year that they got it. The trial is set to start in June of 2027. They will have delayed, regardless of what happens in the lawsuit, they have delayed that merger from going through for over a year. The reason that is important is because some of you guys may remember, maybe you don't, that if Paramount does not close this deal with Warner Brothers by October, they are going to have to pay a penalty to the current Warner Brothers shareholders to the tune of $6.5 million per day. Let me say that again. They're going to have to pay out a penalty to the Warner Brothers shareholders if they don't close this deal by October of $6.5 million per day, aggregated across $650 million per quarter. And the last merger these states have held that thing up for well over a year. It's going to be well over a year. It's going to be well over a year at $6.5 million per day. Now, the Attorney General for California, Bonta is his name, he wrote an op-ed piece for Variety explaining why these states have come together to sue the merger and sue to stop the merger. And I thought it was very well put. It says this: by combining, this is key here, by combining two of the 5 largest film distributors and 2 of the 5 largest basic cable channel owners. This is key. Like when we talk about the merger, we often just talk about it in terms of, well, 2 big movie studios. But Bonta is pointing out this isn't just 2 big movie studios. This is 2 of the top 5 movie studios and 2 of the top 5 cable channel owners, all in the same deal. Now, for those of you who rightfully and understandably want to point back to when Disney took over Fox, remember, they didn't get all of Fox. Fox chopped out a whole bunch of stuff. That's why you still have Fox, the television station, that is not owned by Disney. That's why you still have Fox News, that is not owned by Disney. There's a lot of stuff there that was not in that deal that will be in this deal. Anyway, it says, by combining 2 of the 5 largest film distributors and 2 of the 5 largest cable channel owners, the resulting media behemoth would control nearly 1/3 of theatrical movie distribution and nearly 1/3 of basic cable channels. It would control more than 30% of the blockbuster release distribution that buoys the movie and theater business, and 50 of the most popular, get that, 50 of the most popular cable TV channels, spanning an unrivaled slate of news, sports, entertainment, kids, family, factual, and lifestyle content. Given that much power to one media company would wipe out competition, jack up prices, hurt the quality of content we're offered, and bring fewer movies and shows to our screens. Combining cable news channels would mean fewer journalists informing our electorate and fewer opportunities for Americans to hear the full breadth of information and opinions on a subject. Consolidation would mean fewer voices speaking truth to power and fewer documentarians, filmmakers, showrunners, producers, and writers and artists shedding light on important stories that too often go untold. That's a death knell for the film and TV industry and for our democracy. And that is the reasons being given by the Attorney General of California why he and 11 other states have brought this lawsuit to bear. Now, this brings up the question, guys, about what's going to happen. Because when stuff came up about the European Union bringing challenges, and when things came up about the UK bringing up challenges, I've always said, like, these could become problems, but I think they're going to overcome these problems. The big hurdle they're going to face is when the states bring a lawsuit. That's going to be the big hurdle. And while the European Union stuff is still going on and the UK stuff is still going on, this is the main event. The states bringing this lawsuit, I think, is going to be the ultimate main event here. So it's going to be in different stages. Stage 1 is going to be whether the states can successfully get the courts to bar the merger from happening until this lawsuit goes through and is completed. That is likely to happen. There's a long track record of examples of the courts are, generally speaking, very hesitant to allow a merger to just go through while litigation is pending. Now, it's not impossible, but the general precedent is courts will usually embargo deals from completing until litigation goes through. So I believe it is likely, not 100% though, not 100%, but it is likely they're going to get that injunction. And that by itself is going to put immense pressure on an already galactically debt-ridden Paramount to the tune of, again, once October hits, $6.5 million per day that they're going to have to pay to the Warner Brothers shareholders for not finishing this off. That's even if the litigation doesn't work and the states lose the case. Paramount is still going to be out $6.5 million per day, and this could hold them up a year. So you do the math. Now, guys, here's what I still think is ultimately going to happen. I think an injunction is going to be granted to block the merger temporarily while litigation proceeds. I think that $6.5 million per day is going to become a really huge weight around Paramount's neck. And what I think is going to happen is this. This is just me pure guessing, but, based on the information we have, and I've kind of said this before. I think at the end of the day, the deal goes through. But to get there, I think Paramount will offer several key concessions to the states to get the states to drop the lawsuit. What will those concessions be? I'm not really sure. Maybe it's them saying, we won't buy HBO. Maybe it's them saying, we will carve out CNN. Maybe it'll be, we'll divest ourselves of all their television networks. We really just want the studio. It could be any of those things. So, guys, what I think will ultimately happen here is I think the deal gets done. I think by the end of the day, whether it's 6 months from now, a year from now, whatever, I think Paramount owns Warner Brothers, but I think Paramount will make some key concessions that will satisfy the states to say, okay, as long as you're only buying these pieces and not all these pieces, we have no objection. We'll step back. So that's what I think is going to happen. I mean, I don't know. It could be that the states go for blood and just want to kill this thing altogether, and maybe it works, but maybe they do that and it doesn't work. Maybe Paramount makes some small concessions. Maybe they make some really big concessions. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways this could go. Rob, you saw these newest developments here, and you read the article that Bonta wrote explaining why he and the 11 other states are bringing this lawsuit. What do you think about the lawsuit itself, and how do you see this working itself out and resolving?
Well, I mean, you did a great job of breaking it down. The thing about all of this is, I understand we're talking about a business that is getting smaller and smaller and smaller every day. And obviously the corporate interests, what you're dealing with is a lot of money and a lot of consolidation of the information that our world has access to. And I think what's disconcerting about all of this, in a world where high tech is becoming just ubiquitous in every part of our lives, to see entertainment and information companies conglomerate in this way is disheartening and maybe disconcerting to a lot of people. So I understand why there's a lot of opposition when they see like news organizations combining and the actual, I mean, we live in a world where we don't even know what's true anymore. So I think a lot of this isn't so much about movies, although that's problematic as well, because we're going to be getting movies that are defined. The movies that get made are defined basically by one family. They're going to decide what two major motion picture studios are going to make, a father and son. That, I think, is the core of what the opposition about this is. And I think that's very valid. That said, this is a very expensive business that's been going or undergoing incredibly tumultuous times. Post-pandemic, Hollywood has been living very precariously. Even this summer, things that you would have thought would have made money at the box office aren't. That said, I think ultimately the control that a father and son could have over this industry is that's what we're really talking about. And there's a reason why for that reason alone, that's why the states are opposing this merger. Although I think it's going to happen because ultimately business wins out in America. And I think you're absolutely right. They're going to make a lot of concessions, especially when it comes to, I think the news organizations play a lot more into this than we're really thinking about. And whether Paramount can really make 15 movies for Warner Brothers and 15 movies for Paramount remains to be seen. What's Paramount even doing aside from Jackass? What are they making right now? Another Nightmare on Elm Street movie?
Jackass underperformed compared to, previous instances.
Yeah, that was too bad.
Of course
too.
It did.
That was too bad.
And we're looking, I mean, you have venerable institutions that are 100 years old that are going to be combined by a company that's put Jackass out and just announced a new Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Really? These are not visionaries at work here.
And again, I want to go back to this about, I often hear And I get it. I really do. Some people will say, well, what about the Disney deal? Like when Disney bought Fox. And there are several major differences between when Disney bought 20th Century and what's going on here. Number one, back then there were more studios. So when Disney got 20th Century, that made it even more precarious to try to merge further because there's already now one less major studio.
Right.
But the biggest difference, of course, is that that deal was really just for a movie studio buying another movie studio. That was it. This deal is about one of the largest streamers in the world. This deal is about 50 networks in the deal. Fox, again, I mentioned before, Fox still exists separately. You still have the Fox network. You still have Fox News. You still have a lot of you have Fox Sports. You have FS1, FS2. You still, all that kind of stuff. We're talking about like major significant differences. And by the way, I had somebody write in the other day, guys, saying, how come nobody complained when Disney bought 20th Century? I'm like, are you fucking stupid or just 12? Because there was a lot of pushback.
12-year-olds are smart.
Yes, but they weren't around.
That's why he said or.
But they were really young. They were really, really young when that, because there was a lot of pushback. The unions pushed back, the DGA pushed back, the Writers Guild pushed back, the Actors Union pushed back. Of course they did, understandably. And it didn't go through. But there's so much more to this deal than even that one had. And so I can understand why the states are bringing the lawsuit. Again, I think like 95% of all lawsuits, this will end in a settlement. Only about 5% of lawsuits actually go all the way through the trial and get a judgment. Like 95% of them end in settlements. I think this one will be no different. I think the Ellisons will see their declining bank accounts by $6 million every single day. I think they will see a way out. And I think the states, when Paramount offers them a way out, like offers up some concessions, I think the states will go, listen, we can keep fighting this thing, or let's save the taxpayers' money and let's settle this thing. Let them buy certain pieces and not other pieces, and we'll call it a win for everybody. So that's what I think is going to happen. It's not necessarily what I want to have happen, but that's what I think is going to happen. So we'll see. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? It is now official. 12 states have launched a lawsuit to block the Paramount Warner Brother deal. I still think ultimately it goes through with both sides coming to some kind of an agreement, but maybe it will, maybe it won't. Whatever you guys think about this, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? Don't know if you heard, but there's a little movie called Avengers coming. Yep, it's an Avengers movie called Avengers Doomsday, and it's on its way. And why on earth they still have not released the trailer that they showed us all the way back in April at CinemaCon is completely beyond me. But whatever, they know. I'm not going to question the marketing minds at Marvel because they seem to do a pretty good job of marketing their Avengers films, if the box office results tell us anything. But we now have today our first official look at the designs and the looks of the characters that we're about to get in Avengers Doomsday. This coming to us from Variety. Avengers Doomsday concept art reveals first look at Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom and returning X-Men characters. Now, it comes from, as I scroll down here, a guy by the name of Andy Park who posted this. Now, he wrote, Avengers Doomsday, the final full film I had the honor of leading as director of visual development at Marvel Studios. This illustration commemorates that journey and reveals the characters and their looks for the first time. So let's go. There's a couple of key things in this as we go over now and take a look at what he put out. First of all, we can attest that this is indeed the looks of the characters as we saw them in the trailer. And you guys, I'm sure, will very, very soon. I think they'll probably drop the trailer at Comic-Con, so you guys are all going to see it too. And obviously they got in there, the Thunderbolts in there, we got the Fantastic Four, we got Sam Wilson and his new Falcon behind him, we got Shang-Chi in there, we got Shuri and M'Baku in there, and nobody below them. And of course, we've got the X-Men in there. We got James Marsden in that very iconic looking Cyclops outfit. We got Beast looking very beasty. We got Gambit, Nightcrawler, Mystique, obviously Magneto and Charles in there too, and Thor up in the corner. So there are three things in this image that really, really jump out to me. First thing, first official look at what is the Mask of Doom going to look like. And I think most people will agree it is very doomy. That is very Doom. So I think people are going to be pretty happy with the general look of the Mask of Doom. So that's cool. Number two, you get a sense of the breadth of the characters that are in there and their various looks. So obviously Thunderbolts, they look just like they did in there. Ant-Man looks like Ant-Man. Thor, I like the look of his outfit. His outfit is always changing bit by bit through the franchise. The X-Men look fantastic. Fantastic Four, we already know what their look is. Shang-Chi looking very Shang-Chi-ish. The third thing to me, and this is the big one to me. Now, granted, this is just the visualization art. It's not the official poster, nothing like that. But this is the part that really speaks to me here. I think it is notable that the focus of this image is three characters, front and center. It's Steve, it's Doom, and it's Reed Richards. That tells me that those are our three main key players in the movie. That Doom, Reed Richards, and of course, the one true Captain America, Steve Rogers, are going to be the three central characters of the movie. I think Thor is clearly, especially if you guys see the same trailer we saw, Thor is clearly going to be an important part of the film. I mean, because Thor narrates the trailer, at least the one that we saw. I mean, Rob thinks they're going to change up the trailer from what we saw. He might be right, but the one we saw at any rate, Thor basically narrates the trailer. But again, looking at this image, it seems like, and if you look back at previous Avengers images, you usually get a sense of what the main players are by who they put front and center. And this looks like it's going to be Steve, Doom, and Reed Richards. And I think that's fascinating. I think it's interesting. So I like this image a lot. Again, this is our first official image coming directly out of somebody at Marvel giving us this look. Rob, you had a chance. You saw the image. What did you think about it?
Well, I mean, he's been let go from Marvel, and this image looked to me to be a very sort of preliminary, almost a sketch, if you were. Like, I'll refine it later, but here's what it looks like. And I mean, I enjoy. But I should
point out that's the shirt. The shirt Steve is wearing in this image is the shirt he's wearing, at least in two of the shots in the trailer.
No.
Right?
I mean the design of the poster. Yeah,
okay,
I mean all the characters, because I like the jacket Reed's wearing and stuff and all that. But you don't have where the Wakandans, where the Talokan.
Well, the Wakandans are down there in the corner. They're right underneath the Fantastic Four there.
Sure, but where is Namor there?
No, there's no Namor.
But I just think that it's kind of an early. It's cool, but I think that I think we're going to see a lot more interesting stuff as we move on. But I think the most important thing is, like what you pointed out, where's our main story focused? And the idea that Doom is somebody that is coming, obviously a friend of Reed Richards and Sue and Reed. They all know Victor Von Doom. And then we've of course got how does Steve Rogers? Did I say Steve Richards? Steve Rogers play into what is his relationship with Doom? Does he have one? Where's it going to go? I mean, obviously, I could answer that question, but I think this image sets up that central conflict, that Doom is at the center, not just between these two men, but at the center of everything.
By the way, I got to throw this in there because I'm seeing a lot of people who were not listening carefully. People saying, well, that's not a very good poster. This is not the poster.
Right.
This is the guy who is the director of visual development, who just basically, this is a sketch of what all the characters are going to look like. This is not the poster for Avengers Doomsday. This is the official art from the visual development director of what the characters are going to look like. That's it. It's not a poster. Just wanted to throw that down, double down on that.
Yeah, it's just it was a preliminary design sketch of what they could be doing. I mean, it's redolent of how the previous Avengers posters have looked. Yeah, and I'm sure it was something like, we could do something like this, and then it was going to be refined. So I think, look, I'm deliriously excited for this movie. I don't care what anybody says. I am very, very, very excited for this. And I can't wait to see all these characters get together. And I love the fact that we're going to get Steve Rogers coming back. I love the fact we're getting Dr. Doom. I just, everything about this turns me on, and I'm very excited.
By the way, did you notice Loki right under Doom's chin? If you look just right under Doom's chin there.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and I'm very excited. Very excited.
I'm seeing a couple of people in live just saying, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of you. What's not to like? Do you not like Cyclops looking like that? Do you not like Thor's outfit? Do you not? I think it's just that's all this is. This is showing us what the characters are going to look like. I'm not sure what there isn't to like about this.
Yeah, it's a preliminary sketch. It's something that was meant to be refined later. So in terms of how a layout could look and how it's going to be designed. I mean, my question about this movie, John, remains the same, and I don't know how is it you meet a guy whose last name is Von Doom and you don't think he's up to no good?
But isn't that the same question you could have been asking while reading the comics for 40 years?
Yeah, but he was always bad. In this movie, when we meet him, apparently, I would just, what do his parents think of him?
Maybe that's not his real name. We haven't seen it on a placard.
It's true. But
Victor Von Doom. I think that's a cool name.
But you can't use an acronym because Victor VD isn't so good either.
I mean, it's not like his name is Victor Von Bad Guy. It
is though.
That was my roommate in college, Rob.
Victor Von Bad. Oh, Victor VD. Yeah. And this is his other roommate, Philip Syphilis. Good to meet you guys.
Look, I mean, I'm deliriously excited for this film, and I'm getting excited for all the Hot Toys figures that I can't wait to see I have to say, I really dig the jackets, the Fantastic Four, like the leather. There's something about the white. I agree. Isn't that cool?
I think that looks good. I especially like the white one on Reed.
Yeah,
I think that looks really good too. And what do you think of my theory here, Rob? That, I mean, the reality is, we haven't seen the movie. We may know a bunch of details, but we haven't seen the movie. What do you think about the fact that it looks to me, at any rate, that what this artist is portraying here is that the main core focus of this film is going to be Reed, Steve, and Doom. Do you agree with that assessment? And if so, what do you think?
Well, I do, because, if they go by, obviously, the comic mythology, Reed Richards and Doom are intertwined.
Yeah.
They've been battling now for more than 60 years. And then, of course, the fact you're bringing back Steve Rogers has got to be a key player in all this, because that dude, I love Steve Rogers. I love Captain America, but he took not Bucky's, but Sam Wilson's advice. Like, he decided to, he made his own incursion on the multiverse and stayed in the past, hung out with Sharon Carter, started a family, whatever he did back in the day to find himself some happiness. That was a little selfish. I'm not.
But he earned it. But he earned it.
He earn it. He took it upon himself to change
He
time
saved the
itself.
world like 50 times. Of course he earned it.
Bro, that's his burden. That's what Captain America does. When he threw himself on a grenade as a scrawny little man, he said, "Look, I'm stout of heart." He doesn't get to have happiness.
Here's the thing.
And he tried to get some, and it ruined the entire multiverse. He's in trouble now.
Yeah, but here's what doesn't make sense to me when I start thinking about time and space. We see him as an old man. So all of this stuff would have been accomplished, and he still came back satisfied as an old man. So I don't really get how that plays.
Stop asking questions, Jonathan.
Sorry.
Oh, I'll
Sorry.
bet he was
You know
Sharon
what?
Carter. I'd be satisfied too.
This is the thing that has really driven me nuts about the MCU is that even in the past, like since Endgame, and this I think is one of the weaknesses they've shown. Since Endgame, they have offered no less than 7 various explanations and ideas of what time travel, multiverse, and interdimensional stuff is. Like even once you get into Ms. Marvel, which I love the show Ms. Marvel, love it. But even that show gets into a totally different idea of what multidimensional multiversism is. Even when you watch Shang-Chi, it offers a completely separate idea about what multidimensional stuff is and what time travel does and what time travel doesn't do. Like they don't have a coda. I'm convinced they do not have a coda over at Marvel. It's just like, whatever, because that's why time travel in movies is stupid. But they don't stay consistent with, like, I don't care what concept they come up with how multiverse and time travel works. Just come up with one and then have your movie stick with it. And it feels like every time there's a movie that comes out that involves either time travel, multiple planes, multiple dimensions, or a multiverse, they treat it completely wildly differently. Because the way multiverse is handled in Endgame and timelines is handled in Endgame is completely different from the way it's handled in, say, something like Deadpool and Wolverine, or say is the way it's handled in a Shang-Chi, or something else along those lines, or even in a Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, handled completely differently. And I really hope, as they bring this multiversal pointlessness to an end, thank God, in Doomsday, I hope they can at least codify what to them multiverse, timelines, multiple dimension, time travel, how that all works to them, and then wrap it up in a certain way. And
they're going to end it all. It's going to all collapse. And you know what? At the end of the day, people are going to be like, how could we have not seen a guy named Doom was going to be a problem?
You're really hung up on this, aren't you? Like, you're really hung up on this.
No, I mean, come on. I mean, it's just, I don't know. You know, maybe somebody will make a joke about it and diffuse that whole thing at the very beginning. I don't know.
Victor Von steal your stuff.
I can't wait to see this movie. I can't wait.
Oh, I'm excited about it. I have some worries because it is very ambitious, right? Like, that's the thing about this thing. This thing is very, very ambitious. And listen, we want our filmmakers, we want our storytellers to approach things with big ambition.
Yeah.
But when we do, when we encourage our filmmakers and we want our storytellers to really swing big, the bigger you swing, the bigger the chances you strike out, right? That's just a truism. And so when I look at what this movie is going to be, I see huge ambition and I see big, massive swings. And that's exciting. But as somebody who has watched movies my whole life, as many of you have, the bigger you swing, the bigger the chances are for many things to go wrong.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of guys who are the biggest home run hitters in baseball also have some of the highest strikeout counts, because the bigger you swing, the more potential problems. So I am, like you, Rob, I am ludicrously excited for this movie. I am absolutely beside myself. Like, only Dune 3 is higher on my most anticipated film of the year list than this.
Yeah.
But I'm also a little bit nervous.
Well,
because there's a lot of things that can go wrong with this movie, man. A lot of things that can go wrong.
It is built on a gimmick. I mean, the whole idea of Robert Downey Jr. coming to play Victor Von Doom, to play Dr. Doom in this, is inherently gimmicky. And it inherently brings with it baggage that I think might even be unnecessary, because you have a whole world full of people that are very seasoned watchers of science fiction, fantasy, and horror. And they're going to ask themselves, in universe, what is your explanation that Tony Stark and Victor Von Doom look alike? Now, that's just something that's a problem you created for yourself.
Oh, yeah, but I'm sure that's something they decided on day one. That I'm sure they know what they're doing with that. Yeah,
I hope so, because I think that's an inherent issue. But look, I love Robert Downey Jr. And the thing is, I think they'll probably have figured out something really clever and interesting to make this whole thing work. I mean, I'm sure he's some kind of a variant of something, or their origins diverged or whatever, because Kevin Feige is a fan of Star Trek. And, ultimately, I go back to the mirror universe. Something happened to take two men and diverge their paths. And one went one way and another went another way.
One wore a goatee and one was clean shaven.
Stark always had a goatee though. But
Stark did.
We don't know if Doom is clean shaven. Maybe he is.
And we won't know by the end of the film, by the way.
I know. I just think, you know what? I'm still excited. I can't wait to see the poster. Can't wait by the hot toys. Who's scoring the movie? Do we know? Is Alan Silvestri?
I don't think Silvestri's doing it again, but he might be. It's funny because I was just listening to the Portals theme last night driving back from my movie. I had the Portals theme on. So anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? We do now have our first official look at what the looks of these characters are going to be. I think they look great. Doesn't mean the movie's going to be great, but I think the looks look fantastic. Anyway, whatever you guys think about this, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time now for us to move on and start taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we got to do two things. First, we're going to bid good afternoon to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, sir. We'll talk to you again tomorrow.
3 sleeps till the Odyssey.
Yeah, I cannot wait. And of course, our technical producer, Jonathan Voico. Thanks a lot, Jonathan. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you guys later.
And the last thing we need to do here before we move on to your live comments and questions is thank another sponsor of today's episode of the John Campea Show, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second and thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. Look, guys, we talk about mental health a lot around here and a lot more openly these days, but actually raising your hand and asking for help, it can still feel incredibly hard. I mean, we wouldn't hesitate to tell a friend it's good to talk to somebody, but society still makes us think twice when it's our turn. BetterHelp is working to bridge that gap. They are the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 6 million people globally with a network of over 30,000 fully licensed, high-quality therapists who work under a strict code of conduct. And the bottom line is that the data shows it works, holding an average rating of 4.9 out of 5 for a live session based on over 1.7 million client reviews. BetterHelp handles the initial matching work for you through a short questionnaire tailored to your needs and preferences. Plus, their industry-leading match fulfillment rate means they usually get it right the first time, but if you ever want to switch, you can do so at any time. Don't let stigma stand in the way of support. Start therapy with BetterHelp. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's betterhelp.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, time for us to go over and start taking your live comments and questions. Just so you know, I have turned off the super chats now because there's already too many questions in there, so they are now turned off. So let's go over and start answering those questions that you guys have sent in, shall we? We're going to start off with Johnny Got Lost, who writes, 12 states suing, change your stance on merger success? No, like I mentioned in the video, like a little bit earlier when we talked about it, I still think the merger goes through. What I think this will do, though, and again, I could be wrong about this. This is just me looking at the information we have available to us and making a guess. My guess is that Paramount, like they are doing in the UK, Paramount is making some concessions for the European Union and the UK to make sure that their deal can go through over there by divesting themselves of some of the properties they'd be getting. I think the same thing will happen here. I think they'll talk to the states and say, what would make you feel better about our merger going through? I think the states will throw some things out there. Paramount will make an offer saying, okay, what if we divest ourselves of this, 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 and this? And I think they'll come to a deal. And I think ultimately the deal goes through. Maybe it doesn't, or maybe it does with no concession. I mean, everything's still on the table, but that's how I kind of see things going through. So no, hasn't changed my point of view that the deal still goes through, but I just think it's going to look a little bit different because there's going to be some concessions made. Anyway, All right. Mike Vetter writes, shows like Clone Wars and Last Airbender grew up and matured with its audience as they went on. X-Men 97 has grown up at least the same rate that Stewie has. Yeah, but I mean, that's not really a good comparison, because you're talking about 4 years between the launch of Airbender and the finale, right? Like, you're talking about literally almost 30 years between X-Men 97. So it's not really an apples to apples comparison there. I would say that. All right. Thanks for that, Mike. Bobby Jackson writes, I know you've said you still believe the merger will happen. So do you not believe the merger creates a monopoly, or do you think they'll have to divest something in order for it to go through? Oh yeah, 100% they're going to have to divest. Again, big difference between the Disney taking over 20th Century Fox was that they just took over 20th Century Fox. They didn't take over a movie studio and one of the biggest streamers in the world and 50 television networks and, right? It was much more limited in scope than this one is. So yeah, I still think it goes through. I don't think it constitutes a monopoly, because even as a combined studio, I don't think they're bigger than Disney. And on the streaming side, I still don't think they're bigger than Netflix. So I don't think it constitutes a monopoly, but I do think that the states have a point when they say it does limit competition and it limits consumer options. All that is true without it necessarily being a monopoly. So again, I think concessions get made. I think they make a deal. And I think at the end of the day, this merger goes through. Again, looking a little different than it does right now, but I think the merger goes through. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll find out. We'll see how it all progresses. All right. Svein, 86, writes, saw The Sheep Detectives last night. Love that movie. Had a blast with it. Favorite part has to be Sebastian explaining who/what God is. Also, the scene where Mopple and Lily goes to the neighbor's farm was pretty creepy for a kids movie. Dude, I'll tell you what, that scene, I remember when watching the movie, when that scene happens, that was pretty terrifying. And I'm glad they don't promote Sheep Detectives straight up as a kids movie, because I got to imagine, I think for some adults, that scene was pretty frightening. And I think for kids, it'd absolutely be considered kind of terrifying. But I also don't think it went over a line. Yeah. Up until yesterday, Sheep Detective was my number 2 favorite movie of the year. I think it's now my number 3 favorite movie of the year. Because if you guys saw my fireside chat, I saw The Invite this weekend, and I believe it is now my favorite movie of the year. I think The Invite has supplanted Project Hail Mary as my favorite movie of the year. I loved it that much. I can't believe how good that movie is. Guys, if you it's had no marketing budget. It's this tiny little movie with some big names in it. Go see The Invite. It's so good. It's so good. Anyway, next up, thank you for that, Svein. Romel Gordon writes, over under 40% Spider-Man and Doomsday combined make 10 times what Supergirl and Clayface makes. Oh, that's easy. Easy. Because Supergirl is only going to end up making about $150 million. And let's say Clayface, which is a very small budget movie by comic book movie standards, let's say it makes, I can easily see Spider-Man and Doomsday combined making $3 billion. So I think there's a pretty good chance that, maybe I shouldn't say easy, but I think there's a pretty good chance that Spider-Man and Doomsday make 10 times what Clayface and Supergirl combined do. Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance of that. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got Amin writes, Michael Jackson was supposed to make his comeback with the This Is It tour on July 13th. Today, his biopic reached 1 billion. The universe found a way to keep his promise when he said, see you in July. Yeah. So Mike, I think today or yesterday, Michael became the second film this year to cross the $1 billion mark. Now, I told everybody for a year, longer than a year, that Michael was going to be $1 billion film. I said it for over a year. Now, I started to doubt it once I saw the film and I saw how it opened, because it's been in theaters for 3 months. It took a while to do it, but still, when I saw it, I started to think, I don't know if this is going to get to $1 billion now. Like I for over a year, I said it would, but then I saw it. I'm like, I have my doubts. I don't know that it will. I don't think it will, but it got there. It got there. I still am disappointed in the movie. Like in a thumbs up or thumbs down world, I like the movie. I do. I liked it, but I thought, especially with it being Michael Jackson and Antoine Fuqua being the director, I was still hoping, I was expecting it to be better. And I think if the movie was better, we could be talking about $1.3, $1.4 billion. But yeah, I said for over a year, Michael's going to be $1 billion film. And if they split it in two, it's going to be $2 billion films. I changed my mind on that after I saw it. I thought, I don't know it's going to get there because I don't think there's a repeat watchability, but it got there. It crossed that finish line. All right. Now just the second $1 billion film of the year. By the way, Toy Story is going to cross 900 million by Wednesday or Thursday. So it looks like within the next 2 weeks, we're probably going to have $3 billion films this year so far. All right. Next, Ramel writes, with it being 5 years since seeing Spidey's last movie before Doomsday, and great marketing, I think Brand New Day has a legit shot at catching 260 million. I'm also confident it makes 2 billion with China included. You know, I don't want to be in the doubting Spider-Man business, especially with Destin Daniel Cretton directing this one, the guy who directed Shang-Chi. It's just that I think Spider-Man is going to be massive and huge and a blockbuster, but I just can't believe it's going to surpass Spider-Man No Way Home. Because number one, Marvel is not as hot right now as it was when Spider-Man No Way Home came out. Marvel was a lot hotter, and it just had Endgame, and it was firing on all cylinders. It's not right now. I mean, it's picking up steam again with Thunderbolts, then Fantastic Four. It's been picking up steam again, getting back its quality, but Marvel is simply, it's not, you can't even dispute it. Marvel is not as popular and hot right now as when it was when No Way Home came out. The second big thing, of course, is that with No Way Home, you had the whole Andrew and Toby thing. And this movie doesn't have that. And so the third thing being, there are fewer people going to the movies today. The number's getting bigger and the number is getting closer, but it's still a reality that the number of people going to the movies today is less than when back in 2021, when Spider-Man No Way Home came out. There were more people going to the movies at that time. So do I think Spidey's going to be massive? Yes. Do I think it's going to be huge? Yes. But I don't know, man. I just don't see a path that it makes more money than Spider-Man No Way Home did when it's still in the repairing the damage phase. But again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's so good that we all go back to see it 50 times and we'll, as all thing, we'll wait and see. We'll see. All right. Next up, Jesse writes and sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Jesse. Appreciate that, man. And Jesse writes, there's a rumor going around that Feige is interested in bringing it. That's bullshit. That's not true. There's a rumor going around that Feige is interested in bringing back Anya Taylor-Joy back to the MCU as Magic. While New Mutants was a bust, I thought she had lots of potential in that role. Would you want to see her back? No, that's BS. That's not true. That's absolutely not true. Let me just bring this up here. So Anya Taylor-Joy is now 30 years old. Which is still super young. Don't get me wrong. Still super young. But Anya Taylor-Joy is 30 years old now. She's not New Mutant age. It's been 6 or 7 years since he played Magic. And listen, I think she was a great choice to play Magic at the time. But no, he's not going to bring her back for that. And by the way, why would Anya Taylor-Joy come back and do it? So no, I don't believe that for a second. Now listen, for all I know, you read that rumor in Variety. And if you did, there might be something to it. I have not heard this rumor, but I don't believe for a second there's any truth to it. Again, if you read it in the Hollywood Reporter, if you read it in Variety, fine. My guess is, and I could be wrong, I'm taking a guess. My guess is you probably read it on one of those Gus's gas station movie reviews .fart outlets. So I don't believe it for a second. But then again, I've been sitting here for the last few hours doing a show and not reading the news site, so I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. But my first impression is there's no way that's true. That's my first impression at any rate. Anyway, thank you for sharing that, Jesse, and thank you for supporting us on that level, dude. Really appreciate that. All right, next up, we got Yuri Maninen, who writes, Sam Neill will be missed, Jurassic Park forever. Again, I will always think of, I would have liked to have seen Montana. I mean, such a great line delivered by a true artist of the craft. Again, I never felt like we were getting anywhere near the end of Sam Neill's run in the movies. I feel like we've been robbed. But we'll see. All right. Thanks for that, Yuri. James Germain writes, the actor for Darien is Link in the Zelda. Yep. We mentioned that in the show today, that if you want to get your first look at Link in the new upcoming live action Zelda movie, look no further than Game of Thrones. So yeah. All right. Next up, Bruce Wayne Brady writes, most likely film Batman Absolute or Batman Beyond. Neither really. I don't see either happening. But if you're talking live action. If you're talking animated, I have never believed DC has any interest in making a Batman Beyond movie. But I think after the success of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I think the chances got much better for an animated Batman Beyond movie. You know, my career over the past, 15 years, I think maybe all the way back to the movie blog, has been people telling me every year for 15 years, John, they're going to do a Batman Beyond live action movie. And I'd say, no, they aren't. And then people following up, John, you're stupid. Yes, they are. And then the year passes and it never comes. Then the next year they say, John, we're going to get a Batman Beyond live action movie. I say, no, they're not. John, you're stupid. And then the year passes and it never happens. And it's been 15 years of that. And we're still here asking the same things. Now, I'm sure eventually before the sun dies, somebody will take a crack at making a live action Batman Beyond movie when they have nothing left to do. But I don't see it happening anytime in the immediate future. And I don't see them doing an absolute Batman either. That said, that's talking about live action. Animated? Anything's on the table. Anything's on the table once you talk animated, so that's always possible. All right. Ramel writes, started Sugar after you guys recommended it, and I love it. I'm all caught up. Have you started season 2 yet? No, the Colin Farrell show. Listen, Sugar is a show that really flies under the radar, right? Like, they never really promoted it well, like, at all. It's just kind of there. And I did find Sugar season 1 a little predictable. Admittedly, I found season 1 a little bit predictable. I still really enjoyed it. I still liked it a lot. And I am definitely going to tune in and watch season 2, but no, I have not started watching it yet. But I'm glad you're watching it, man. Thank you for the recommendation and reminding me that it's out there and I need to get caught up on it. All right. Let's see. Next up, we have Castillo writes, sup, John, wanted your thoughts on Mad Max The Wasteland is rumored to have a TV show instead of a movie. Kind of upsetting. I thought Thor killed it in his role. You know what? Yeah, I thought Chris Hemsworth was great in that movie, in Furiosa. I thought Anya Taylor-Joy was great in it. I didn't think the movie was fantastic overall. Granted, it's been a beat since I've watched it, but I don't think it ended up being like super fantastic. But the reality is nobody went to go see it. And let me just bring this up here. So first of all, everybody thinks about Mad Max Fury Road and everybody thinks it was some big, massive hit, right? because everybody loves Mad Max Fury Road, right? And so when you think about Mad Max Fury Road, everybody thinks, oh, it was such a big blockbuster. Do you know how much Mad Max Fury Road made? $380 million. Now, that's not chump change, don't get me wrong, but that ain't global blockbuster numbers by any stretch of the imagination. Black Adam made more money than Mad Max Fury Road did, right? So you had Mad Max Fury Road made, as great as that movie was, only made $380 million. So then you get Furiosa, and significantly less people went to go see Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. It made $174 million. Right? Like the follow-up to Fury Road, which not all that many people went to go see. And then you do, I always thought this was weird. You do a follow-up that's a prequel with the secondary character. So you're starting with a movie that not that many people went to go see. Now you're going to do a prequel to that movie and make your main character someone who was the secondary character in that first movie that not all that many people went to go see. And sure enough, it made even less. It made $174 million. I just don't know that there's a case to be made that there's a lot of money to be made in getting into the Mad Max business right now. I just don't know that you can make a solid argument that you can do a solid Mad Max. Now, by the way, somebody's putting this thing out there. Rex is saying, Anya Taylor-Joy is not a box office draw. Nobody is. I got news for you, my friend. Nobody is a box office draw. She is absolutely in a box office draw in the sense that you put her in a movie, you're pretty much guaranteed that your movie's going to be even better. And that will increase your box office. That's a truism. But I mean, I don't know that there's been other than Dwayne Johnson, I don't think there has been a legit box office draw person in 20 years. I mean, yeah, Will Smith was for a little while. Like him and Dwayne Johnson were like the last ones, but there's no actor today. You just drop that actor in a movie and people are going to guarantee to come out and watch it. That used to be true decades ago, but I would argue that Anya Taylor-Joy is as much a box office draw as anybody. Right? Like the people today that are still, I think, even remotely close to being box office draws, I don't think people just rush out and see any Tom Cruise movie. I mean, hell, look at his last Mission Impossible. It took a major dive at the box office compared to the previous ones. Digger? I mean, when you put him in a movie that looks amazing, yes. But I got news for you. You put Tom Cruise in Furiosa, a prequel to a movie that never made much money in the first place, that's focusing on the B-level character of that. You put Tom Cruise in Chris Hemsworth's role. I don't know that Furiosa makes much more money than that. So I don't know that any performer today is a box office draw. They just don't exist anymore. It hasn't been that way for a long, long time, my friends. All right. Thanks for that, Castillo. All right. Rob writes and sends in a $20 super chat. Thank you, Rob. And Rob writes in again, thank you for supporting us on that level, man. That's very generous of you. Rob writes, given that Disney acquired the MCU around the first Avengers movie, do you think it would have been nearly as successful if another studio had picked them up entirely? It's so hard to say. It's so hard to say. I mean, it all depends. Like, did another studio pick it up, but Kevin Feige came along with them? Then maybe, yeah. Look, the magic sauce behind the MCU, obviously there's thousands and thousands of people involved, yes. But the guy at the helm has Kevin Feige. So the question to me, I mean, now you just asked me, maybe I'd give you a different answer if I thought about it for a while, but you're asking me right now live on the spot. So my answer right now live on the spot is, it's not about which studio owned it. It's about who is the person at the helm. If Marvel ended up in another studio's hands, but Kevin Feige came along with it, then maybe it turns out just as well. Maybe better. I mean, who knows? It's it's always hard to kind of, you can't prove one way or the other, obviously, but to me, as long as Kevin Feige was part of the equation, that's really the main thing. That's the main thing. All right. Let's see here. Next up, R. Lee writes, Michael just crossed $1 billion with Bohemian Rhapsody making 900 million plus. There's clearly an appetite for these types of movies. So I think Hollywood's going to keep making them. Sorry about that, John. Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing. I can now start bringing up a whole bunch of biopics that didn't make any money. Bohemian Rhapsody worked because it was an amazing movie. It was an amazing movie. I'm not a huge Queen guy. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Of course I like a lot of Queen's music. I do, but I wouldn't consider myself like some, massive Queen fan, right? I appreciate their movie as much as anybody else, or their music as much as anybody else, but I'm not a huge Queen fan, but that movie was amazing. It's a much better movie than Michael. And the movie was incredible, and it made $900 million. But if you think, no, it made $900 million because it's a musical biopic. You know what was better than Michael? Although Michael Jackson is more of my favorite, of course. But you know what movie was actually better than Michael was? Rocket Man. Rocket Man. About Elton John. Now, I'm a bigger Michael Jackson fan than I am an Elton John fan. I love and respect them both, of course. But Rocket Man was a better movie. How much money do you think Rocket Man made? Made half a Black Adam. Half a Black Adam. Made $195 million. What was the name of that? They just did the musical biopic about Robbie something or other, the English singer, and they did his character as a CG monkey. What was the name of that movie? Better Man? Was that it? Is that the name of the movie? All right. So Better Man. Let's go see how much Better Man made. Big musical biopic, right? Oh, everybody wants to see the big musical biopics. Yeah, Better Man made $22 million. $22 million. Rocket Man made 195. Better Man made. So you can't cherry pick one or two things that work. Go see, people want these. Well, what about all the examples that people didn't go see? A couple of them even better movies than this, right? So yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody made 100 million. It was a remarkable film. It was one of my favorite films that year. Michael made $1 billion. Something I predicted for over a year until I saw it, but I predicted it would because it's Michael Jackson. It's Michael Jackson. It was going to be huge regardless. So that's true. But here's the problem you run into. There are no other Michael Jacksons. As a matter of fact, let's do another one. Somebody who maybe arguably was even bigger than Michael Jackson, Elvis. You know how much Elvis made? Elvis made $288 million. And there's an argument to be made that Elvis is bigger than Michael. So Rocket Man, 195 million, Elvis, 288, the Robbie Wilson, is that his name? Anyway, 22 million. So if you can't just point to a success and say, see, people want that kind of movie, because you can also point to the whole bunch of other that kind of movie that failed. Maybe not failed, but did exceedingly less well. The answer is not the formula. The answer is not just make a musical biopic. Well, because clearly that doesn't work. It's about, do you make a great individual movie? And somebody like Michael Jackson, who arguably is the biggest pop star of all time, that's why idiots like me for over a year said, yeah, this is going to be $1 billion film. But the problem is you don't have any other Michael Jacksons. It's like the problem that Nintendo now faces with Mario Brothers, right? Yes, Mario Brothers made $1 billion. And so everybody thinks, well, now just make all these Nintendo movies and they'll all make $1 billion. But the problem is Nintendo only has one Mario Brothers, right? they only have one Mario Brothers. They don't have any other characters that they can just plop out there and expect it to make $1 billion. With musical biopics, you did it with Elvis, didn't work. I mean, the movie was really good, but I mean, financially, it didn't work. Rocket Man didn't do great. Robbie Williams didn't do great. You know, all that kind of stuff. You've only got one Michael Jackson. So I don't think, I have to respectfully disagree here, my brother. I just don't think that pointing to one or two things that worked means, oh, just make musical biopics. People are hungering for them. Well, there's a lot of musical biopics that prove they're not. So yeah, I just don't think you can break it down to that simple formula. That's just how I see it at any rate. I really appreciate your sharing your point of view on that though, Arlie. Thank you so much for that. All right. Next up, A. Marcellus writes, are there any movies you don't love or like, but still own them because performances were that good? No. And listen, to be honest with you, even in my digital format, I don't own a ton of movies. I just don't really feel the need to own a lot. Like if I feel like there's a few movies that I know I'm going to watch at least once a year. Lord of the Rings, I own those. Star Wars movies, even the ones that suck ass, I own them. Because I'm always going to watch Star Wars even when they're terrible. I'll never watch Rise of Skywalker again, granted. But I mean, I own all those. But like most of the time, I get the urge to watch like one of those movies like once every 4 or 5 years. And 9 times out of 10, they're available on a streaming service. And if they're not, well, then I rent it for $3, right? So I do own a bunch, but I don't own a whole ton. And so, no, I don't own any movies that I don't like just because a performance is good. I can definitely go back and watch it again at some point, but I'll pay, $3.99 to rent it instead of paying $15 or $20 to own it. But you know what? I think A. Marcellus, I think there's a lot of people that probably do. So I think it's a fair question. I just don't myself. That's all. All right. Next up, Connell writes, I didn't have a lot of good father figures growing up, but Sam's character from Jurassic Park showed me what being a good father looks like. You know what? Of course, when we think about Jurassic Park, we think of the dinosaurs and the T-Rex and the water vibrating in the glass and all that kind of stuff. But one of the really cool sub-stories of that movie that is so charming and delightful is, here's this paleontologist like, I don't want to have kids. I want nothing to do with kids. And yet he finds himself suddenly stuck in this situation where he's needing to protect these kids, and he kind of forms this bond with them. And yet that's not the part of Jurassic Park that everybody talks about. Not the one I often talk about, but that is truly one of the things that makes that movie magical. Because anybody can have a big dinosaur biting a guy, but like to work in these little things too, like that specifically that you're pointing out, is one of the things that really brought the magic to it. All right. Let's see here. Next up, we've got Yor, who writes, my top 5 favorite I've watched on cinema so far this year. Song Sung Blue. Hugh Jackman is so good in that. Hamnet. Oh my God. Is Hamnet's a 2025 film. Well, maybe if you just saw it this year, that counts. Okay, that's fair. I Swear, Disclosure Day, and Sheep Detectives. Man, I gotta say, I still like Disclosure Day, but I was disappointed in it. I thought the first 2 acts, banger. And I thought the third act kind of fell apart, which is too bad. So I still like it overall. The first 2 acts were good enough that even though I think the third act failed, I still liked it overall. I'm glad I saw it, but I was really hoping for better. So liked it, yet still kind of disappointed, but that's just me. All right. Raymond Verrata writes, Michael crossed $1 billion. Yep. It's a feel-good movie. Worth going back to. I just like looking for people dancing like it's a Michael concert. I was one of those people. I don't think the movie's all that good. Like, I don't think it's bad, but I enjoyed it, but I don't think it's all that good. But the part that really worked in it, no doubt, was if you were in my theater with me the first time I watched it, I was like this. Like I couldn't help it. Like I'm just dancing in my seat. Like the musical numbers and like the recreation of making certain videos, like the Thriller video and all that kind of stuff. I couldn't help it, man. Is this music? Because I love music of Michael Jackson. So while it's going on, I'm like in my seat. So I was one of those guys. Do I think it was a triumph from like making a good narrative and good storylines? No, I think it could have been much better, but that part of the movie really, really worked. Because I was one of those idiots dancing in my chair in the theater, Raymond. All right. Next up, we got Brian, who writes, "Love for All Mankind. My wife and I are watching it because you two recommended it." You know, it's funny. Rob got me hooked on For All Mankind, season 1. So I was late to the party. So I binged watched over the course of a few days For All Mankind season 1. Loved it. Really loved it. Like not a top 10 favorite show of all time, but I really loved it. I thought it was really good. And I just never got around to season 2, let alone season 3 and so on and so forth. So I am way behind on it. And you know what? I still haven't watched Fallout season 2. I love Fallout season 1. Never watched season 2. So I've got to get caught up. That is one of the shows I really have to get caught up, man, because Rob just keeps raving about it, man. Keeps raving about it. All right. Let's see. Christopher Diaz writes, "Thoughts on Moana remake bombing this weekend in the box office?" I don't know that I'd call $40+ million bombing. So back that up a little bit. I don't know that I'd call $40+ million bombing, but we talked about it last week, right? We expected it to come in low. It just feels soulless. The reviews were bad. And we were, frankly, being honest, I thought it would come in even lower. I thought it would come in the high 30s. I thought it would make like 37, 38. So, hey, it made more than I thought it would, but yeah, not surprised. I mean, the whole marketing campaign felt very soulless. I'm all for making live action remakes. I am. I know a lot of you guys aren't. I don't care. I think you can get some really good movies made when you do live action remakes. Some bad ones, some good ones, like anything. Original films, get terrible ones and you get good ones. So I'm all for doing live action remakes, and I was all for doing a live action Moana remake, but it just always felt soulless. And then the reviews came out, and the reviews just plastered that movie. And it's like, I never felt any excitement from people about it. And yeah, if you saw our show last week, you know, I'm not surprised. I'm actually surprised it made over 40. I really kind of started thinking it would make under that. So that's just me. All right. Let's see. Next up, who do we got? Thanks for that, Christopher, by the way. Al writes, "What are some recent movies you didn't like, but others did? For me, I didn't like The Invite. Oh gosh. Disliked Send Help. Wow. And hated Iron Lung. I wasn't big on Iron Lung either. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought Send Help was great. I thought Send Help was great. I had such a good time with it. And The Invite is now my favorite movie of the year. Absolutely my favorite movie of the year. What are some movies? Well, you know, even though I do like it, I think there's a lot of people who liked Michael more than me. But then again, there's a lot of people who straight up didn't like Michael. So maybe Michael's not the best example of that. Gosh, a movie, I'm trying to think. I'm sure there have been some. Can any of you guys in the live chat think of a movie that I didn't like this year that most people did? Because I'm having a hard time. Weapons and Together, I loved both of those. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, a lot of people seem to like Masters of the Universe. I did not think that was a good movie, but I'm glad a lot of you, even Jonathan Voico really liked it. So I'm glad you guys did, but I did not. Marty Supreme, but that's technically last year. That's not this year. And yeah, Marty Supreme is a movie almost everybody really liked. And I'm a huge Timothée Chalamet fan. Hated that movie. I hated Marty Supreme. So yeah, so that's a couple of them. All right. Sheep Detective. I love Sheep Detective until yesterday was my second favorite movie of the year. Of course, that's not a movie I disliked at all. All right. Let's see. Next up, we've got, oh no, it's Appleman writes, I discovered a loophole with the Movies Anywhere. If link other services like Apple, Amazon, Google, etc. to your Movies Anywhere account, the movies from those accounts will stay in Movies Anywhere forever, even if you unlink or delete those accounts. I don't know that, by the way, that's a $20 super chat. Thank you for that, man. They're very generous of you. I don't know that that's true. I don't know that that's true. Because one of my streaming services did a major update, and then Movies Anywhere notified me that I needed to reconnect my account to that service, or else I wouldn't have access to the movies that I have on that service. So now look, I'm saying that having not done a bunch of research, you're just hitting with me with this now live. I'm just saying, because of that recent experience I had, I'm not sure that that's true. Because why would Movies Anywhere tell me that I had to reconnect my service in order to continue watching my movies from that service? Now, if you're right, that's awesome. But I don't think you are. So do me a favor, guys, look into that, because, man, if Appleman is right about that, that's great. That's great. I don't think that's what they're doing, but if it is, that's awesome. Please look into that, guys, because I would love to know if that's true. Regardless, whether you're correct or maybe off on that a little bit, Appleman, thanks for bringing that to our attention, and I'm sure our viewers will look into that, because that's awesome if that's true. All right, thanks, man. All right, Dakota writes, it's not that people don't want legacy horror. They want it to be good. Halloween Ends wasn't good, and the same with the Netflix Leatherface. But you only know it's not good if you go to see it and see it's not good, and nobody went to go see it. You can put out, there are certain beloved properties that if you just put out one and it's even not all that good, it's going to get a bunch of people to go see it regardless. And then the word gets out that it's terrible and maybe it loses steam. But we are talking about a full list of movies. Let me see if I can bring this one up here again. I'm not sure that I can, but I'll try to. Yeah. You're talking about a full list of movies that none of them got to $150 million. Like, when you're talking about numbers that low, that's not just the movies weren't good. It's not like you had 10 bad Nightmare on Elm Streets in a row before you got to that Nightmare on Elm Street, right? Like, so I really do think, now it's not the be all end all. I don't think it's the be all end all, but I do think a part of it, is that people just, this new generation, and even the older generation, like late 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, I just don't think we're looking to go back to Jason, Freddy, and Michael again. I'll be there. I may admit I'll be there because, you tell me you're doing something new with Freddy Krueger, I'm probably going to go. But I really don't think a lot of the new audience is, and I'm not sure a lot of the established audience is. We will find out when Paramount makes a new Freddy movie. If it makes $400 million, great. But I think it's going to make closer to that $100 million mark. But I hope I'm wrong. Hope I'm wrong about that, Dakota. And I hope you're right. All right. Next up, Cody Hunt writes, Ariana Richards, who plays Lex in Jurassic Park, posted about Sam Neill. She said he was kind and was a protector. I just help but think of all the children he made feel safe and comforted by his performance. You know what? That's a great observation, Cody. That we just talked about, that's an underrated part of Jurassic Park, right? Is that side story, that sub-level story about him forming the bond with the kids. I think you're right. I think he made probably kids in the audience feel safe by his performance. That's something that has not been brought up, and I think that is an excellent, excellent point. I think that's a great, great thing to point out, man. Great thing to point out, Cody. All right, next up, Kevin Irving writes, Hey, John, I just saw Rocky Horror Show on Broadway yesterday. I've never seen a live show of it. That would be fun. Such an amazing experience. What are your thoughts on the original film with Tim Curry and its importance for movie musicals at the time and now? Look, Rocky Horror Picture Show is what it is. It's incredibly bombastic and fun for what it is. Is it one of the great musicals? No, I don't think so. Do I think it's super influential on musical stage? No, I don't think so. Like when I watch Greatest Showman, I don't see any hints of Rocky Horror Picture Show in it. You know what I'm saying? It is, I think, me, Rob, and Jonathan were talking about this the other day. We were talking about Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think if there was one movie that was a poster child for cult classic movie, like there's a lot of, we attach that term to a bunch of movies. Oh, that movie's a cult classic. That movie's a cult classic. I think if there was one movie that was the face of being, like when you think of a movie, when you hear the term cult classic, it's Rocky Horror Picture Show. I think that's the poster child of it. And so it's absolutely got its legacy forever planted there. Do I think it's a super influential movie? Not really. Like you see a lot of Godfather in a ton of movies. You see a lot of Star Wars in a ton of movies. I don't see a lot of Rocky Horror Picture Show in a bunch of movies, but that's not important. Its legacy is forever cemented, and that's kind of the key thing of it. And I'm kind of like really jealous you got to see a live show of it. I think that's really cool. Let's see here. Nova movie confirmed by Deadline. I'll take. Yeah, I saw something about that earlier. I'll look into that and see how valid that is. Like, are they saying it is happening, or they're saying they're working on it? I don't know, because I've been doing this show. I haven't read up the reports yet, but I'm sure we'll talk about it tomorrow. All right. Let's see. Gold Kinder writes, I always assume Tony/Doom makes his own Sentinels. That's possible. I mean, remember, we always had the Doom bots, right? Like, don't forget about the Doom bots. We could absolutely get a whole bunch of Doom bots. Much like we had those Ultron bots in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. So it's possible we get a bunch of those. Maybe yes, maybe no. And all right, guys, that will do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show a part of your day. We sure hope you guys will come back and join us again tomorrow, of course. Hey, by the way, guys, if you want to, you can follow me on Instagram or on Threads, simply at John Campea. That's where you can find me. I look forward to seeing you guys over there. And a big thank you to all you guys for joining us, including the thousands of you guys in the live chat right now. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun reading the stuff you guys have been writing during the show. And of course, a big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those super chats. Number one, because you gave us fun things to talk about. But number two, you supported this channel as you did it. And all of us involved with the show, thank you guys so very much for your support. All right, guys, we will talk to you again tomorrow. We'll look forward to having you then. That'll do it for us for now, guys. My name is John Campea. And until next time, my friends, bye-bye.